Before every single meal, breakfast, lunch, dinner, 125 million Japanese people stop. They press their hands together and they say one word, just one, 5 syllables. But here's what nobody tells you. That word carries over 1,000 years of philosophy, Buddhism, and a hidden guilt that most Japanese people feel every single day. And once you understand what it actually means, you will never look at your own dinner the same way again. Okay, picture this. You sit down at a Japanese table. The food looks incredible. Steam rising from the rice bowl, miso soup perfectly arranged on the side. And before anyone takes a single bite, everyone at the table pauses. Hands come together, almost like prayer. And in one quiet, unified breath, they say it. Itadakimasu. Then the meal begins. You've probably seen this in anime, in travel vlogs, maybe even in a Japanese restaurant. But here's what almost nobody in the Western world actually knows. Most people translate Itadakimasu as simply, let's eat, or I'm going to eat now. And technically, that's not wrong, but it is completely missing the point. Because what that word actually expresses, the real reason 125 million people say it every single day without fail, reveals something profound about how Japanese culture thinks about life, death, food, and guilt. And that story starts not at a dinner table, it starts on a farm over 1,000 years ago. Let's break down the word itself, because Japanese is a language where the structure of a word tells you everything. Itadakimasu, it comes from the verb itadaku, and itadaku means to humbly receive something from someone of higher status. Think about that. Not just to receive, to humbly receive from something greater than you. This is not casual language. In Japanese culture, this verb is reserved for situations where you are genuinely grateful and genuinely subordinate. You use it when your boss gives you a gift, when a respected elder offers you something, and at every single meal. Because in Japanese Buddhist philosophy, the plants and animals that became your food, they held a status above your hunger. They were living things, and now they are gone so that you can continue. Every grain of rice you eat was a living plant. Every piece of fish was a creature with a life. Itadakimasu is literally an acknowledgement of that. A thank you directed at the life that ended so yours could continue. Now, suddenly, that simple 5-syllable word hits completely differently, doesn't it? Here's where the story gets even more fascinating. Buddhism, which reached Japan around 552 AD, according to historical records, teaches a concept called sessho, the prohibition against taking life, any life. In early Japanese Buddhist thought, even eating plants carried a kind of spiritual weight, because plants are alive, animals are alive, and consuming them means ending their existence. This created a remarkable psychological tension inside Japanese culture that has never fully gone away. According to researchers at Kyoto University, Japanese people report significantly higher levels of what psychologists call food guilt compared to Western counterparts. Not guilt about calories or health, but guilt about the act of consumption itself. And Itadakimasu was born directly from that tension. It became a ritual release, a moment of honest acknowledgement before every meal. You're not pretending the fish didn't die. You're not ignoring that the rice field was harvested. You're looking at your plate and saying, I see what this cost. I receive it humbly. Thank you. That is extraordinary. And it's been happening at Japanese tables every single day for over 1,000 years. But wait, because there's actually another layer here that most people completely miss. Here's what makes Itadakimasu even more remarkable. The gratitude isn't just directed at the living things that became your food. It's directed at every single human who touched that food before it reached your plate. The farmer who planted the rice at 4 a.m., the fisherman who went out before sunrise, the truck driver who delivered it, the person in your family, or the chef at the restaurant who spent hours preparing it. When a Japanese person says Itadakimasu, they are culturally acknowledging every single one of those people. According to Dr. Emiko Onuki-Tierney, a cultural anthropologist at the University of Wisconsin who spent decades studying Japanese rice culture, rice in Japan is never just food. It carries an enormous social and spiritual weight. It represents labor, sacrifice, and connection. And Itadakimasu is the moment where the person eating consciously receives all of that. Think about what happens at most Western dinner tables. You sit down, food appears, you eat. There's often no moment of acknowledgement at all. No pause, no recognition of the chain of human effort that made that meal possible. Now compare that to 125 million people 3 times a day, pressing their hands together and genuinely saying, I see all of it. I am grateful. Which table feels more human to you? You might be wondering, okay, this is beautiful philosophy, but does it actually change anything? Does saying one word before a meal really matter in modern Japan? The answer, remarkably, is yes, and science backs it up. A 2015 study published in the journal Psychological Science found that people who performed any form of brief ritual before eating, even a simple personal routine, reported food tasting significantly better. They also reported higher satisfaction and ate more mindfully. The ritual, whatever it is, creates a psychological transition. It tells your brain, this moment is intentional. This food is worth noticing. And Japan, perhaps because of Itadakimasu, consistently ranks among the world's lowest nations for food waste. According to Japan's Ministry of Agriculture, Forestry, and Fisheries, Japanese households waste approximately 643,000 tons of food per year. That sounds like a lot, until you compare it to the United States, where the USDA estimates Americans waste over 80 million tons annually, with a population only about 2.5 times larger. The mindset matters. The ritual matters. One word said with intention 3 times a day shapes how an entire culture relates to food, to labor, to living things, and to gratitude. That's the power hiding inside 5 syllables that most people dismiss as just, let's eat. And here's one final thing that completely closes the loop on this story. After the meal ends, after every last grain of rice is finished, Japanese people do it again. They say another word, Gochiso-sama deshita. Directly translated, this means, it was a feast. Thank you for running around to make it. The word gochiso actually contains the kanji for running, a reference to the ancient act of physically running around to gather and prepare ingredients for honored guests. So the meal in Japanese culture begins with humble gratitude and ends with honored acknowledgement. The entire eating experience is framed, literally wrapped inside appreciation. Beginning and end, from the first moment to the last. That structure is not accidental. It's a philosophical design for how to consume life's gifts without taking them for granted. And honestly, that's something every culture on Earth could learn from. So next time you sit down to eat, try it. Press your hands together, say Itadakimasu, and actually mean it, because now you know what it means. If this story changed how you see your dinner table, hit subscribe. We uncover hidden stories like this every single day. And drop a comment. Do you have a ritual before you eat? I genuinely want to know. Next up, why 100 million Ethiopians eat every meal from one shared plate with their bare hands, and why that act is considered the deepest form of trust in their entire culture. That story is next.